I hope everybody is enjoying our nice, warm spring weather, and your plants are all thriving. Yeah. All right, our first order of business is going to be, to approve. Well, first off, I want to welcome Class 40 members. Yes, Paul. All right, I won't forget. Just a second, Class 40 members. I have been asked politely by Paul Prince, for those of you who are doing stuff around the camera, please be careful and be aware that it's there. It's an expensive piece of equipment. And besides, as I told Paul, if you knock it over something, you might ruin an absolutely perfect picture of me. This is unacceptable. So, no, please, joking aside, just be a little cautious when you're moving around the camera. I appreciate it. Okay, now Class 40 people, can I see a show of hands? All right. Any other guests? Can I see a show of hands? I know there's at least one. All right, welcome. I hope you enjoy our meeting tonight. We have a wonderful speaker, and I know that you will get a lot out of it. I always do. So, the approval of the membership meetings from our April class is up first. Can I please have a motion to approve the minutes? Rodney, and second back here, Kathy Adams. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We're going to move right into some important stuff, and that is the election of a new treasurer. As many of you know, Claire Huebner had to resign as treasurer, and so the board has nominated, what was your name again? Frank Ripple as the treasurer. However, nominations are open from the floor. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate any other crazy person.
Yeah. Except Frank? I don't. Okay. Any serious nominations? All right, then I am going to ask for a vote of all those in favor of Frank Ripple becoming the treasurer. Please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? I think that... Welcome. I told the board when we were getting ready for this, I said, I'm waiting for the day. Now, I've been a master gardener for 11 years this year. And I'm waiting for the day when we have an actual election with two people running for the same office. Because that's not usually how it works. It's usually, please, 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 will you take on this responsibility?
Don't hold your breath, okay?
So those of you who have not had an opportunity to do so, we've got our eyes on you. So you haven't escaped. It will happen. So anyway, thank you for that. Now, the second thing that we want to, in terms of official business other than reports and stuff, is the approval of the bylaw amendments. As you remember at the meeting last month, there was a concern about some of the wording having to do with the executive session. We made some modifications to that to clarify the board's intent. You all should have had an opportunity to review it. It's been posted on VMS. Can I hear a motion to approve the bylaws? Rodney, and approve. David. Second, David. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right. Now we are going to, in fact, we have a process already going to update the policies and procedures manual to reflect the changes and updates to the bylaws. And you will have an opportunity to review those as soon as they're done. We'll let you know when they're ready. All right. We are moving right along here. Excuse me. I am afraid that my sinuses, they keep saying everything is low, everything is low. That's not what my sinuses say. I think, Frank, that you're up first with the treasurer's report here.
Let's put him to work.
How many minutes was that?
Frank, it wasn't even 30 seconds, you already saying.
So the transition between Claire and I is going well. Tomorrow, Friday, we're going to the First United Bank, and I'm gonna do some signing and get to be able to sign checks tomorrow and apply for the debit card.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So what I'm finding
Oh, we're
is,
gonna trust you with actual money?
well, I got people that watch me. What I'm finding is I'm dealing with a lot of numbers. And more numbers. And even more numbers. So that's how finances go. I'm gonna pop back though real quick. Oh, here we go. On this first sheet here, it's income. Money is coming in to our group. And to fulfill our mission, which is to educate the community and teach the community about gardening, money has to go out. Okay? We're a nonprofit organization, so money comes in, money needs to go out. So one of my first projects that I picked up is last week I got the board of directors to approve a mid-annual budget review.
Yay! Very smart.
We have 41 projects. With help, we are contacting every single POC, reviewing their budget halfway through this year. We're going to make changes, review it, take your suggestions, put it in, take it to the board meeting on June the 12th. I'm going to go for the POCs to get them approved, and it'll be effective July the 1st. Okay? So this is the first time we've done this. Halfway through the year, it's going to change the budget, and we're going to get that done. And
I have a question for you, Frank.
sure.
Is the 501c3, the nonprofit Master Gardeners, is it on a calendar year schedule, fiscal year schedule? And if it's a fiscal year schedule, is it like August to September, or is it October to July? What is that? Is it a
Yeah, the
January to December?
Calendar year, January through December.
It's calendar year, okay. That's
Yep.
what I was- Thank you.
So I think we're right in the big, so. We're also, with these 41 projects, we're going to take on a little bit more. So we're taking applications for new projects. If somebody has an idea, get this application, get with me, get it to me by the 10th of June. It'll go in with the stack. And we're going to go for more projects. And we've already had a couple come in. So we're adding to it already. And that's it. I'm done.
Good job.
It's Beth Smith.
I'm gonna be quicker than Frank.
Sorry, I was. First off, I want to thank Frank for initiating this mid-year budget review. I think that it is a good process. We'll see how it goes. It's something we may continue to do in the future because, you know, you start the year, you work on the budget in the fall for implementation in January. You think you know what's going to happen, but it's like those of us who work in business, it's like a business budget. Things happen. And so this is an opportunity for people to do. So Beth, did you have slides? I don't think so.
No.
No. You want to
Just-
come up here and talk?
It's real fast, I got two things to say. Put on your calendar, August the 1st, remember that's our first Friday out of the Big Red Barn. You will be hopefully providing some desserts for the people who come and eat that evening. Also put on your calendar, December the 11th, that's going to be our social, winter social, and it will also be at the Big Red Barn, so that's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be all day. So, that's all I got.
That's awesome.
Well, that was quick.
It's the
Yeah.
spring, summer, social.
Hold on, we got a question on the floor.
We're going to talk about some social here in a minute. But hold on. Hold on.
It's coming, it's coming.
It's coming. Okay. And for those of you who don't may or may not be familiar with the First Friday concept, the Geronimo Lions Club sponsors a steak dinner, well, it's steak or fish, on the first Friday of every month. Now, depending on how holidays fall, there may or be a time when there's not, but it's first Friday of every month. And that on that day, a nonprofit in Guadalupe County comes in and they provide servers for the food and desserts, in return for which we get a donation from the Geronimo Lions Club. Minimum is usually $500 depending on the participation at the dinner. And sometimes that, if you've ever been to Big Red Barn, it's a big area. Sometimes it's full. The amount that we receive may go up. So it's a lot of fun. Food is good. And we will be calling on you to help provide desserts and/or serve. So when we get closer, we'll
What's
be
our month? What month are we gonna do it?
August.
August.
It'll be August the 1st.
August the 1st. It actually falls on the 1st. Since I'm on the board of the Christian Covered Food Pantry here in town, and we do it usually in November, so I get to do it twice this year.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, and by the way, for those of you who indulge, besides either steak or fish and a nice salad and all this good stuff, wine or beer?
Yeah.
Okay. It's included with $20 for the meal. So
So it's a good deal.
okay, next up is going to be, I believe, Brenda, do you have slides?
Nope, I do not have
No
slides,
slides.
but I will come up here and talk.
You will come up here and talk.
But it won't be long.
All right.
So, as usual, I sent everybody out my education report. I didn't get any emails with questions, so I'm assuming there are no questions. The number of members with 0 hours is continuing to go down, so that's great. And we had a wonderful lunch and learn here yesterday with Karen on wildflowers. It was very informative. For June, here at the AgriLife building, we will have a video presentation with Wizzy Brown going over the top 10 veggie pests. At the Seguin Public Library, it will be Karen again with wildflowers. And then at the Schertz Library, it will be Beth Smith with hydroponics. So 3 more opportunities to get your continuing education hours, as well as I've stated before, there are many opportunities online to watch videos to get your credit. So, yes, ma'am.
What's the date for Karen to be at Seguin's library?
It is Saturday the 14th.
You need an admin?
You're listed as the admin.
And for those of you who missed Karen's presentation last Wednesday, it
Yesterday.
is well worth
Yesterday.
going.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay. Let me back up here. That was not where I wanted to go.
Aren't we fast and spiffy tonight?
What, Frank, didn't we have Bjorn's slides in here?
Is he ready?
Why are we doing the plant sale next? Well, we can do the plant sale next. It doesn't matter. I don't see. Is Bjorn, did I miss you?
He's not here?
He's not here. Well, I'll go over his
And
stuff.
communications, Ingrid's not here. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's introduce.
Yeah, on the agenda, you'll see the communications director. Ingrid has some, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I need to go back for a minute. You said that was July 14th? Because that is not a Saturday.
June.
June.
We don't have lunch and learns in July.
Okay, June, you said 7/14, so it's 6/14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ingrid Wilgen, who is our communications director and would normally be making a short presentation, has some family things going on. She couldn't be here this evening. So I guess what we'll do is go ahead and have Paul do this.
Okay.
All right. Paul? I hate to do this.
Yeah, would you do that?
But I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
I'm not going to surprise anybody here.
Let me sit down. I'm not going to actually leave the room. I'm just going to sit down.
Well, we ended our spring plant sales on April the 26th. And we ended, as you can see, out of 7 venues for the spring, we ended up at $16,500.
That's impressive, y'all.
Really good. And we still got the fall to go yet. So, and next meeting, I'm going to talk about 2 more plant sales that we're going to have starting in September. So I'm going to have Pam up here to discuss those things. Okay, so right now, since it's only me and Pam today, I'm going to let Pam talk here for a minute. So go ahead, Pam.
I would like all members of the GROW team to stand up, please. If you have made a donation for the GROW team, I need you to stand up. The biggest thing, everybody, thank you for all that you have done, for all of your help and just working together and teamwork that we've gotten. Without you all, we would not have been able to do as well as we've done. For Paul and for Frank and April, thank you so much for doing the online and the store. That was just remarkable. For all the others, you know, Paul was our backup, Tim was our backup, and if we had any questions, that's who we went to. So thank everybody for that. But you've worked really hard, and we certainly appreciate it. And thanks for all the people who donated part of their flowers from home and just contributed to the sales and making it work well. And thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Thank you.
I want to give a shout out to Janet McGee, who always sits right there. Janet McGee gave us a pickup truck full of colored pots that we're going to fill with our plants and the plant grow team. Thank you, Janet, for giving us all those pots. She didn't even know she was part of the grow team.
That is the other thing, before I forget it. If you have pots at home that you have purchased or something, don't throw them away. We can reuse them, we will rewash them, we can decorate them, we can do just about anything, but if we can, when we pot up and go from the smaller sizes to the bigger pots, that's what we need. Hang on to them, pass them down to me, we'll get you taken care of.
You can give them to Janet McGee, but she just got rid of all of them.
Is that refrigerator still over at the Big Red Barn?
Say again now?
There is a big refrigerator over at the Big Red Barn, and they make a great grow cabinet for people. It's got glass doors on it, it's got a fan in it, it's got shelves in it, you put lights in it. Only problem is we need about 8 people to do it, and it's about 800 pounds.
If anybody wants or has the place to put it,
we can use it. Okay? All right. Do you want to give her?
Just a minute. I want to say a few things here briefly. Hello? As a plant sales coordinator, myself and Tim would like to recognize an individual that is a prime example of teamwork. But I don't see her anywhere. I'm just going to read this out. This is a certificate that we're going to give this person. Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to Pam Malone. You've done an outstanding job as our 2025 Grow team leader. We appreciate your hard work and dedication, so here you go.
Thank you.
She gets so much into, giving teamwork. She was out at one of our plant sales out by the street twirling a sign. But you've done an excellent job. Thank you
so much.
That is what has made us successful.
And I want to give a shout out to all three of them.
Yeah.
Because now I've worked in a number of plant sales over the years with a number of different plant sale coordinators, all of whom have worked really hard and done a good job. But we have really, really broken some records this year. And it's just phenomenal. That means it helps us achieve our mission. I mean, that's what the money is for, is to help fund the projects that achieve our mission. So thank all of you, but especially thank you to Paul and Pam and Tim. And Tim did not show up this evening, did he? We'll have to get after him. I think I'll probably see him at the barn in the morning. I'll have to give him a hard time. I give him a hard time whether I have a reason or not, you understand?
I mean, now we crossed the Red River, so you definitely gotta get over.
Okay, it looks like our membership director is not here. So I'm going to...
Is it Karen?
We're going to skip that part, and we have a couple of special things. But before I do that, so I don't forget, I know all of you got an email from David Kemp today. Whether you've had a chance to read it or not, I don't know, but you all got it. Concerning some things that have gone missing from the Master Gardener office upstairs. And we really need your help. Now, the office is there for everybody to use, and the materials are there for everybody to use. But should you have occasion to have to take something out of the office, please, please return it so that somebody doesn't show up thinking there's a paper cutter there, which should be there, and it's not. Or if you take it out, please leave a note on the desk saying, I'm taking this out, I'm going to return it on this date, and this is who it is. So that if somebody needed it for some reason, they can go find you and say, hey, I need to use that for a little while, can I have it back? It just helps us keep the organization running smoother. I really appreciate your help with this. Okay, we have a couple of people who are going to do some special project discussions, and one of them is Karen Burkich. Karen, I know you're here. I saw you earlier.
Hi, I'm here.
Does she have a slide?
Yes.
I'm hiding in the back row Baptist this morning.
All right, we're going to get to your slide here. Just a second.
Is this the clicker?
Yep.
There we go.
Beautiful. Awesome.
There we go.
All right, so as I went out and I've been doing, as you know, I'm on the Speakers Bureau, so as I go out and I do these things in the libraries and here and and some things with HOAs, and we talk a little bit about the beginning gardening, I'm finding that a lot of the people want more. They don't necessarily want to be part of our group and all of the dedication that it takes to be a master gardener right at the moment. They're just getting their feet wet and wanting to see if they want to be able to grow with it. So I pitched a couple of weeks ago to the board to bring back the beginning gardening class that Bill Nodine started. He did it. I had taken the master gardener class, and to reiterate everything that was in my pretty little head, I went ahead and I took the beginning gardening class also, so that I could reiterate everything that I learned. So, so I'm going to go ahead, and we are doing a fall beginners class. Is it going to let me do it? It's probably not.
Might have to do it manually.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it's been very enlightening that we have been talking about our mission statement, because it is all about getting out there, letting people know what we do as gardeners and how to be as successful in the garden as possible. And so that is our mission statement, and getting it out there. So why this class? And our program continues to grow and attract beginners. They get to the library, they get my class for 45 minutes, and they go, but what about this? What about this? What about compost? What about all those things? So we're hoping to grow the gardener in them, so that they then want to go ahead and come to the Master Gardener program and be part of the community and spread the knowledge like we do, and allow themselves to have the dedication to that. So here's the class overview. So beginning basic gardening is going to be a 6 weeks course. Decided to do it in the fall rather than wait till the spring, so we don't overlap with the Master Gardener program that's happening in the spring. It's going to be on Saturday mornings, hoping to get some of those people that work during the week, that they're able to come and join us. Won't be too hot, hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise. But these are going to be the soils these are going to be the topics for the next those 6 weeks. I am begging, because I know that y'all have the speaker in you, to go ahead, or at least the dedication to come and give me a couple of hours during this time. All I need is extra hands, really. I need some speakers that are willing to talk on topics. If there's a topic that you want to learn better, it's a great opportunity, because once you learn it and you teach it, you learn it that much better as you go. So look at those topics, take a picture, and let me know which one you want to do.
Where's it gonna be at?
It's going to be here. We've got to work out the times yet. I don't have the dates. This is all part of the logistics at this point, but I thought if I can get my volunteers first, then we can figure out the logistics. But it's going to start sometime in September, and it'll go for 6 weeks. It'll be done by, I'm hoping it'll be done either by Halloween or the first week in November. So this is stuff that's already taken care of, materials that have already been prepared, because Bill was preparing for the next class that he was going to do, and that didn't come through. So I do have all of the binders that we have. I have all of the handouts. Everything is put in order, so my office can be clean after this is over. Because I went and picked all that stuff, but thanks to Bill, he went ahead and he had all that taken care of. So I eliminated it from his house and moved it to mine. So obviously this first class that we're going to do in the fall is going to be a minimal cost to run. It's also an estimated, now it's not $16,000, but for 30 students paying $80 to get some basic knowledge about a raised garden bed in the fall. For 30 students, I'd like to have right around 25. That's a good workable amount, but if we get 30, that would be awesome, so pass the word on. We can make $2,400 free and clear, which will be nice this first time around. And then it'll be self-sustaining after that. So the nice part about it is that $80 per student will pay for all of the basics for them, and then it'll just keep rotating as we do it. And the nice thing about that too is it's going to give them enough information to be dangerous. And then they'll want to come back and do the Master Gardener program and realize the dedication that it takes for us to be out in the community.
Karen,
Yes.
did Bill by any chance have any, I know he's got the student material, but did he have any class teaching materials that people can use?
I've got a flash drive.
All right.
You know Bill. Bill is like Mr.
I do know
Organization.
Bill, that's why I raised the question.
OCD.
So my basic thing is if you're willing to volunteer to instruct,
Yeah.
you don't actually have to start from scratch developing the material.
No, it's just learning the material so you feel comfortable enough. I'm going to give you a little secret about the Speakers Bureau. So if y'all want to join and come on and share your stuff, they don't know what you don't. Just saying. So, but it's a great way too because we can always expand our knowledge and go ahead and find out that information, get back with them, show them the communication that and the availability that we all have. So why it matters, obviously it reinforces our mission. It makes gardening accessible and inclusive. And what I mean by that is a lot of people don't have that $250 to invest in the Master Gardener class also. And they don't also have 16 weeks to devote, especially during the week if you're working. So this might give us a little bit more of a chance to have people that want to come into the Master Gardener program and stay. They don't just do it for the information and the knowledge, but they want to stay and they want to be part of us and they want to be fun like us.
Even if they don't.
or they don't. And then the other thing is it helps grow the next generation of committed Master Gardeners, of course. So here's the ask. I'm seeking for volunteers to assist with instruction, classroom setup, and student support. So if you are interested in volunteering, I ask that you give me your email. I'm going to put a notebook out in the back. Give me your phone number and your email and your first and last name, just so I have it all in my little hands in my little pocket. And once we get all the dates and all of the coordination together, then I will be able to send that out to you and see what dates work for you to come. So what we've done, thank you very much, Miss Francine, right?
Ernestine.
Ernestine. I knew it was a steen, sorry. We are going to take on 3 raised beds over at St. Andrews. So they'll be able to learn here, and then we don't have to go very far, and we can actually take on 3 beds over there. We're going to talk all those details out and what that looks like. But I thought fall gardening is a lot easier than trying to make things live in the spring. Yeah. Especially with the dedication of watering, and all of that. And so with that being said, I also need waterers to come by in the middle of the week to go ahead and water the plants and check on them once we get them planted. So there's a lot of opportunities in this class to just give me a couple of hours here and there. And if you have a Saturday morning and you want to get your serotonin up underneath your fingernails, you're more than welcome to come and visit and be with us and get to know the people and share what we know. Yes, ma'am.
Is there an age requirement? Not a
Adults? Are we doing adults? Okay, so I would love to have kiddos. I really would. But because we're dealing with tools and we're actually dealing with...
Okay, so let's just say like teenagers and above, 18.
16, 18?
I would say that they need to be 18 or older.
Yeah.
Or else, a company like, if for example, you had a 13-year-old whose mom or dad was also participating, I think we could probably do that.
And then we'll work on the cost on that too.
Yeah.
But mom has to be there if they're under 18.
I mean, it's a liability issue. When
Yeah,
you start
a
getting
parent.
Into kids.
It's a legal thing.
Yeah, insurance-wise, I think.
For the nonprofit, the club, so it's easier because state of Texas recognizes an adult at 18 and up, and that removes the liability from master gardeners. Beyond that, then you're gonna wanna have parental consent, and I would
Yeah.
dare say you're gonna want some sort of signed waiver to protect the organization
Okay.
when you're introducing a minor, if that's a concern.
Okay, yeah, let's make it 18 and above. I love the kiddos, and we maybe be able to do a kiddos class.
We have to work out how.
But,
it would-
yeah, but that's a
The rest has to be
whole,
worked out later.
Yeah.
For your first
8
class, you need to make it as easy as you should.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think 18 and above is the best way to go on this one.
yeah, I think so.
Your first out the gate, 18 and up, just to make it easy, because there's gonna be a lot of things you're gonna learn, variables that are gonna happen, that you're gonna think, okay, we're gonna need to put that in place in preparation for the next one.
Yeah. So thank you for your input. I appreciate that a lot. But yeah, let's do 18 and above. I'm working with the library on doing some classes with them in the fall as well for the kiddos. So just kind of keep your eyes out. All right. So thank you again. Again, my proposal is please. please. Come and marry me in the garden, and let's do some great things and get out there with the community.
All right.
Thank you very much, guys. Here, I can
Close this.
let's do.
This is a great project. Please consider helping with it. If you can't do it this fall, hopefully it will be an ongoing project and you'll have an opportunity going forward to help with it. Now, we had another couple of people who wanted to speak with you about various things, and the first one up is Edie Cassell. Edie, where are you? I know you're here. There you are.
I have a slide. There is a slide for me. April, put one in.
Okay,
It says Austin Street Market.
We're getting there.
here it is.
Okay. Hi, my name is Edie Cassell, and I was asked to talk about the Austin Street Farmers and Artisans Market, which started 2 years ago in downtown Seguin. It's on North Austin Street at 414 North Austin Street, and it's every Saturday morning from 9 to 2. It's in the old Wild Buick building, which is a covered area. So the reason I'm presenting to you is the lady who started the market and runs the market, her name is Taylor Dvorak, and her family owns the building. She wanted, in large part, to provide fresh, healthy vegetables to the community. And we didn't have a farmer's market at the time. This is 2 years ago. Well, she can't get farmers to come to the market. She's had farmers come, but then they only stay one or two weekends, and they go to another market where they're more likely to sell out. So they go to New Braunfels or San Marcos or even Lockhart, and she just has had a terrible time. She's done a lot of marketing, a lot of calling farmers. She doesn't charge anything for the booth if a farmer wants to do a booth. She only charges if you're not a farmer. And the booths are only $25 anyway. But anyway, so I'm here because she had the idea of asking master gardeners if they would be interested in one of two ideas. One was just, if you're a vegetable grower and you've got a lot of vegetables, come set up a table at the Austin Street Farmer and Artisan Market any Saturday from 9 to 2 for free and sell your veggies if you have extra veggies. And you know, the money can be for you, or you could donate it to Master Gardeners if you want. The other idea is a little more organized, and that is to have a table, a Master Gardener table at the market every Saturday, or 3 Saturdays a month or 2 Saturdays a month. And then that table would be like a donation table. So master gardeners, 1 or 2 master gardeners would run that table, but any master gardener could come up and drop off any extra produce that they've grown at that table. And then the public could buy those vegetables, and that money would go, of course, to master gardeners. So that could potentially be a volunteer hours opportunity if someone were going to man that table. And I'm happy to help with it, but I'm at the market.
She already has a booth.
Yeah, I grow fresh flowers and I sell bouquets there. So that's how I'm involved at the market. And I'm only there from April through November when I have fresh flowers to sell. But it's a lovely market. I encourage you to go check it out. But the big problem the market has had for the last 2 years is getting produce there. And we do have people come asking for produce, but I guess it just hasn't been enough traffic to keep a farmer there. So if you have questions about it, I can answer some questions.
Yeah, please get with Edie if you have questions. I have one, and that's something we'd have to think about in terms of helping people with pricing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because unless you've done this commercially, I know I wouldn't, for example, have any idea how to price cucumbers.
Yeah.
Zucchini and tomatoes, so we have abundance of right now.
Yeah. Well, so I know 2 years ago when she first started, people were bringing Taylor vegetables, and she did have a small table that she was selling for them. So she was pricing things, helping them price, because she had a little experience with what, you know, what to so she can help with that.
It's something we'd have to work out.
Yeah.
It's a great idea for those of you who have large gardens with a lot of produce that you're giving away to your neighbors.
Yeah, and I know people
Please
take.
don't give any more tomatoes.
Karen?
You can go there now. I mean, before we organize it as a fundraiser, any master gardener can go any Saturday, set up a little table and sell your stuff. That's the important thing, is we can start right now, and then we can organize it as a fundraiser a little bit later on. You know, but we need to get, it'd be nice to get going, but anybody can go right now.
And I'm generally there every Saturday, unless there's something unusual going on, like this Saturday I have to be out of town, but I normally sell flowers there every Saturday, so I'm happy to help. You know, the table could be next to me and I can keep an eye on it. But
another just logistics questions. I'm thinking about it like my little garden's not going to do this, but anyway. Are there tables provided, or you provide your own?
So at the covered space, she has a bathroom that she maintains, and she has fans and electricity where you can plug in. But you have to bring your own table.
You have to bring your own.
But you don't need a tent.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so I take my own table and chairs and a little sign and all that, but you don't need to have a tent.
Okay.
Because it is covered. The other thing is, Beth, I was chatting with Beth with it. There was this idea of maybe also selling our jams there when we have jams or things like that. There could be other things. Maybe Ask a Gardener could be at that table. But Taylor is really trying to make this a community market that is a stopping point for people every Saturday morning. And so we need more, you know, permanent presences there, like Master Gardeners, where people are going to want to come to the market and for those kinds of things. Karen, you had a question?
Yeah, so how does that work if you sell your own goods? Do you have to have a sales license?
So Taylor has done a lot of work to find out what licenses are needed, and because she's been approached by lots of different vendors. And she said if you're selling vegetables, you do not need a license. You do for plants. If we sell plants, we do have to be licensed growers.
Vegetables.
You do not need a license.
It's only going to be poultry, milk, and meats that are going to be regulated and licensed because of temperature and handling requirements.
And also, Taylor, I thought we had her number up there, but anyway, I can give you Taylor's number if anybody's interested, and she'll be happy to answer questions.
And it's the best coffee shop in town.
Right next to the Seguin Coffee Shop, yeah.
And the cheapest.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you.
For those of you who have not been to the Austin Street Market, it is really a nice facility. We had one of our plant sales there this spring, and first off, the people there are very nice, and secondly, it's a very comfortable place to do it, and you don't have to, other than a table and chairs and a little signage, you don't have to worry about canopies and all that good stuff. All right, thank you for the great idea. I think that I want you all to think seriously about moving forward on this. Yeah, I know, I have one more thing, and that is Karen Cassell asked for a couple of minutes. That's our refreshment coordinator. She wanted to talk to you. And then we're going to move into Pam's,
Yep, we're gonna get ready.
talk about,
Everything. Want to talk about everything?
yeah.
I don't have any slides, but I can slide up here, so that'll Boo. No, just a couple of things real quick. I'm going to start something kind of different. I don't know why I did that, I can't see. And I'm gonna pass the paper around for next month. So I kind of thought maybe something to change it up, maybe get more people more interested in bringing food, is so for June, we're gonna have Mexican food night. And so that would be like,
Well, June, we're having a party.
June we're having social.
Yeah, we're having a monthly meeting.
So July's the first one.
oh, okay, then, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, July. And so.
We're doing beans.
All right. And just, you know, like tortilla chips, you know, salsa, guacamole, whatever, you know, beans. Be sure and bring something to go along with the beans. Then, you know, whatever you'd like. If you have any other ideas of different things for each meeting, let me know, that would be great. Nothing too extraordinary because I don't know much about any other. I do Italian and Mexican, and that's as far as it goes. And so, just, you know, if you have any questions or whatever, just let me know. I want to thank everybody that has brought food. I appreciate it very much and has helped set everything up and clean up as we do it every month. It is very much appreciated.
Yeah.
All right. And then if you
Question.
can't, okay, yes ma'am.
How are we gonna know what the theme of the month is? Like, okay, we're gonna do Mexican food in July. Are you gonna send out like an email?
You have to read my mind. Now on the paper, that I'm going to pass around, I'm going to have on the top what it's going to be. So instead of June's meeting, it will be July.
Yeah, because we don't have a meeting in June.
Yeah, so, and I'll write the better date on there. Also, if you're unable to bring something, and we do have a donation little container over here that you're welcome to donate. It helps go towards ice, tea, water, and whatever plates, silverware, forks. And so just, you know, whichever you'd like, I'd appreciate it. Anybody have any questions or anything? All right, my slides up. I'm going to slide over here.
Guys, I want you all to take just a minute at sometime tonight or the next time you see her to thank Karen for all of the hard work that she does. Now, Master Gardeners do several things really well, and I'd like to say that growing plants is one of them, which it mostly is, but mostly we yak and eat. And we've been eating extremely well lately, and a lot of that is thanks to Karen and thanks to all of you who bring food, so thank you very much. Okay, am I going to have to turn this over to you?
David Fisher. David Fisher.
Oh no.
What's worse? She thought I was bad, David Fisher.
Yeah.
Worse.
I thought that we were right on time. This is terrible.
I know.
All right, we have a student presentation. David?
My project,
5 minutes.
I'm doing it. If you leave me alone, I'll get done. My project is to wrap up class 40. We spent the last, well, 15 weeks, 16 weeks, we stringed Paul every time he went like this. So every time he started hitting the gavel, we squirted him and threw silly string on him. So he was full of it. I think we got a picture of that somewhere. But I'll tell you, the first day I went to class, I thought I knew everything there was to know about gardening. I came home, told my wife, I quit. She said, what do you mean you quit? I said, I don't know nothing about gardening. So the first 8 weeks was intense. It got so bad that I had to go back on Prevagen because I couldn't remember everything. So, what's that? Yeah. So, after the 8th week, it started becoming a lot clearer and clearer. And of course, I have my friends behind me, always pushing me forward. Judy.
I'm sideways.
But I'll tell you, Paul, Tim, and April, and I hate to say this, did one hell of a job, because this is the largest class that we've had as a Master Gardener. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So to ramble and ramble and keep us straight and keep us on the straight and narrow, they did one hell of a job. And for that, I appreciate you guys. But I tell you, we learned that everything is possible if you just put your mind to it, follow your book, and if you can't follow your book, call her. She knows everything. And that's what I did. I went to every plant sale that we had. I guess I was the hauler. I was the hauler. And we hauled all the plants to the plant sale. And I sat there while we were doing plants and talked to everybody and got so much knowledge and so much information that it was just unbelievable. So that's my 5 minutes, and I ain't doing no more. Thank you very much.
What's her face here is going to talk for a minute.
2 minutes.
I heard that. Did you get it in? Do we have it on? Okay, let's get it on because we're not even going to take a break. Sometimes we have time to take a break, but we're not going to do a break. While I tell you a couple of things. I pretty much do. Last time I teared up. Mark Vanek, y'all gotta know about this guy. He's so cool. Not only does he do good speaking, but he's also just a cool dude. Mark Vanek officially started working at Vanek's Garden Center in 1981. Well, that was before I was even born. Y'all didn't buy that, did you? Okay, but before that, he worked there part-time, following his grandpa around and helping him with his daily activities. After graduating high school, Mark thought about going to college to learn about plants. But his grandpa caught wind of that story and said, "Why do you want to go to school to learn about plants when it's right here on our property?" Amen. And so that year, Mark started attending Grandpa's classes and began his journey to where he is today. 44 years at a job he loves doing, and he says that he's still getting paid to go to class. So let's welcome Mark Vanek.
Okay, well, the pedestal to be put on, thank you. I love coming here. I recognize a lot of faces, so it's always fun to come talk to you guys. I also like coming this direction because when I leave San Antonio, I realize that once again, it's one smart cookie. You put a city right where the water falls. It's just green over here. We're 5 shades of brown. That's my area. So anyway, but you know, it's so neat to see here. So it's green. You know, corn's growing. Everybody's happy over here. I assume. You're just in the right spot, and where we want a garden, right? But we've got lots and lots of challenges. So I want to show picture of Grandpa because we don't want him to be forgotten because he was our founder naturally, and so he's in the middle of what's one of his favorite plants, which is bougainvilleas. So as we talk about summer flowers, we just left Fiesta in San Antonio. I mean, bougainvilleas fall right into that path, and what's going to bloom all summer long? We want to find those kind of flowers. One-time planting. They used to be good perennials, but we've been through some winters, so now we don't know if we're going to call them perennials anymore. So a lot of folks are putting them in containers. So above ground planting, but in the old days we had beautiful bougainvilleas, and But anyway, that's the way life is, right? We just adapt to, early summer in May and go from there on. So, so we're in a good planning time. It's just we need some rain, a little cooler weather, get you guys activated. So what's coming up next, right? Crepe myrtles. Now, when I grew up in my first class, Grandpa, I swear we only had 6 colors. Now we've got the crayon, of 128 now, and you've got dwarf ones from foot high to infinite sizing up to 35 feet tall now, and some of them grow 6 feet a year. So we can have some nice shade, we can have some bright color, we can have color down low, color up high, and again, and now we have we have chocolate leaf ones now too. So it's not all black green, it's also chocolate. Different colors, coral, white. But look at that majestic tree right there. That tree reached that height in less than 8 years. Wow. They grow 6 feet a year. So 6 times 8, you think we'd be 48, but actually it stopped at 25, 30 feet. But it just grew. And so naturally it takes a lot of water to pump a tree that fast. And so when you do the hybrid crepe myrtles, the fast ones, you need to water them more often. But I mean, that's a shade tree for a lot of folks. And not only the nice, shade tree, but makes a beautiful bark. Is that you? Now, some of the trees, their bark peels on purpose. Natchez is one of them. So part of our summer color is we've got the flowers going on. We have the white bark on there. Natchez will peel the bark quite heavily. So it can become a little bit of a mess down below there, sheds. Much like my hair did when I was younger. And so, but it exposes the beautiful cinnamon-colored bark. Now, to me, Natchez is the closest thing you're going to come to the look of growing a madrone tree. So if you like madrone trees, we know you can't hardly grow them, that's a really close plant to try to have something with that kind of color scheme and growth and with that beautiful cinnamon color on there. There it is right there. Look how pretty that cinnamon is. And so when that bark peeled, they're exposed right there. It's just gorgeous. It's just another color thing I have out there. Beautiful bark, smooth. All right, so when we don't have flowers, we go with color. We look for things that are going to brighten our lives, right? So sometimes the longest blooming plant is not a flower at all, it's leaves. So when we're doing our containers this year, we've got sun or shade, we have to figure out that spot. That's the plant we're going to put there. But we're going to look at different textures and leaves. Sometimes it's going to be patio plants. We talk about gardening, raise a big container in the patio. Not always have a big yard, you can put out big giant flower beds. So we put out plants that we can have, with some little bit of brightness and color. And then if it goes indoors, this helps clean your air in the house. So it's got a mobile look to it. You got different types of yuccas. Again, striped leaves, right? There'll be a few pictures of my shoes. Don't get my brand on my shoes there. So. And so, but anyway, so again, we look at using color, right? A bright yellow. I mean, when a car drives by, I always tell people, when your flower show is going on, is it for you, or are you out there going, here I am, look at my yard? Well, you put bright colors out there, bright flowers, then you're doing here I am. So let's back up in the spring a little bit. It's not summer flower, but we need to cycle things through from spring, have something blooming all the way through into fall. So peach tree is one of the first things to bloom. And so these are nice patio dwarf peach trees. They stay under 6 feet tall. So they can grow on the ground or a patio. So they're like a big blooming, like an azalea bush, but makes fruit. Then you go all the way to the end of the season and go into fall asters. And I mention this a lot of times in my classes because I love fall asters because it comes in October. And October is my wife's birthday and her anniversary. So it's a big flag to say, remember to bring home presents. Isn't that gorgeous for a tree? I mean, how can you beat that? I mean, that's, we all want to go, let's go buy azaleas, but they don't make any fruit. Let's do something like this.
How about a bubba tree?
A bubba tree? Yeah. All that's all good stuff. There's just so many things.
That's what I thought was the first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is actually a peach tree, but it's just it's a newer one that came out on the market. I showed pictures of my fruit tree one with the red baron. This is the dwarf of that. Which next time I have fruit tree thing, we'll change some stuff later. So I'm not a big cactus person, but look at that. I mean, how can you, if you hate cactus, you hate being poked by it. But then, I've seen some of the smallest cactus, 1 by 1 inch, bloom out a 5 or 6 inch tall flower, with 3 inches across. And you're thinking, how can that happen? David Copperfield couldn't pull that off. And so it's just, gorgeous. And yet, so, there it is. So if you like cactus and want some color in the yard, and it's not, in San Antonio it's not raining, this might be our friend, for a while. And then we go back to leaves again. So here's nice texture. Look at elephant ears. They don't have to be underwater. They don't have to be in water. They can be in dry land. If they're in shade, they're not a water hog once they're established. Elephant ears root in pretty deeply, but yet they can be transplanted very easily. So they have a nice massive root ball. Some are more spreaders, some say more heavy bulb form, but as long as they have some afternoon shade, filtered light, and you want some color out there. And we look at colors as being hot or cool. Like in our house, our bedroom's more of a blue color because it's kind of it's a cooling effect. It's not bright orange or red where I think I'm on fire, and I have the heat vision to me. So look at that too when you go out there and in your hot day, you're going home, you're sitting in your patio, and you think, well, I feel like I'm kind of cool here. This is tropical. So your mind will make you work on things. Same thing, house plants, again, the patio. Fig, fiddly fig plants there, and the split leaf philodendrons. Make yourself tropical. Make it, it doesn't have to be all about, brightness of flowers. Just make it nice and colorful. And then there's your hanging plants. Again, striped leaves. Spider plant, airplane plant. Those are always really cool. Ferns. Ferns hanging out there. Then there's your red. There's your Racinias. They come in multiple colors nowadays. So again, brighten up the spot, look like fireworks going off. There's more of your split leaf philodendrons. Now this crepe myrtle I'm showing you because this one is one that got off the market somehow. This is at my house. And I planted 3 of them. They're about 15 feet apart and it's triangle. So that's from east to west, I have shade coming through their filtered light and a blooming backyard background, right? So my patio stuff goes inside there. That's called Tuskegee. For some reason, the growers don't like Tuskegee. They do Muskegee, they do Natchez, they do all the other brands, but we don't have a coral red, pink in that tall series. And so we have to go back to old school. And so we are now propagating these plants ourselves because since there's none on the market, this is coming back. But I wanted to show you that one because I just think it's one of the faster growers. It has that beautiful bark on there. It doesn't have the cinnamon, but it's a here I am vibrant shade. It's just a nice shade. And my greenhouse cools down from it in the afternoon. I get my sunlight. It cools the whole place down. And that's where I go hide out there in that little cubbyhole. Mimosas. So mimosas, I'm driving through Seguin, I see some blooming. So that's their, we are in the season of another blooming. So mimosas, one more thing to add for your color palette. The old time plant, a lot of controversy about how messy it is and how this and this and this, but it is a plant, it does work. It's not a big water hog, it's been around for a million years. But now, it's not a good bloomer, but you can buy a chocolate series mimosa. So again, it's about color. And don't forget nighttime. Night blooming cereus. So, we're up in daytime, all the raccoons are out there watching all our flowers bloom at night, we're really out. So, and look how we're, even at daytime, it's hanging like that, it's still kind of a cool looking bulb, right? But when it opens up, there's the nighttime. So make your landscape kind of cool. If you have your little patio greenhouse, it doesn't have to be all outdoors for color. It's not gonna be the car stopping stuff, but this is for you. This is your world now. You wanna show it off, great. But this is your spot to go out there and, use your little logs and things and pretty pots and, doesn't have to be necessarily all orchids. It could be bromeliads, it could be all kinds of cool plants, but make that your patio stuff. It's still color. Now, I was over in Bernie, in the nursery up there, and they had these not for sale. And I was like, well, that's great. They're just showing up there right for the public to look at. I want to buy one. It's not for sale. And there's millions of them. So I found these on the internet, thank goodness. I'm trying to raise these. But I thought these are rain lilies. And we're used to, the more the white one we see more, predominant in the yards after the rain comes through. But there are light pink ones, most of all. But anyway, these are a bigger form. And I'm growing them to make sure that these are going to be the same size as this one. But I mean, could you imagine a yard or around a tree? We plant Lycoris bulbs and all kinds of cool things, and narcissus and daffodils and blah blah blah. They have this thing out there, and they said this thing is like super super hardy. And so I think this would be a great, now there's, I'm not sure it's gonna bloom all the time this summer, but that was a summertime greenhouse visit. And so, they said it cycles in and out, but it's pretty cool, I think. Then, it's the dog days of summer coming up. I felt that way myself today. So anyway, so we all got to cool down. So hence all those, those shade trees, make your place nice and cool, do your stuff you can there, and enjoy the moment. We're getting past all this, and it's only a mere 120 days for fall. So Pride of Barbados, right? So we all know the orange one. Some of y'all might own the pink one. That's been around for a little bit now, right? There's also white and two shades of yellow out now too. So it's coming down to, are they as cold hardy as the orange one? Our pink one did crash in the Snowmageddon time frame. We thought it was going to come back, and it looked like it tried to, but it was too much for it. So we have to test the other varieties, see how cold hardy they are. But we also, in fairness, we did most of the pink one. It was a little school trial, but it lives, you can have it. If it dies, we shouldn't be growing it here. But we're going to go finish. But it's a cool plant. But now you're going to have almost 5 colors to pick from in the future. So the problem is they're being seed grown, and I used an example in the past before about if you came across from Europe and you're all German and you marry a German, your bloodstream is German, but when you come over and now you met an Italian or a Polish or a Czech, now your bloodstream's mixed up. Well, when all these trees are in the same area growing, so the pollen is going, so the children are going to come out different. We can tell some of them, we know the yellow one has a different leaf structure. This pink one is a little bit different from the red one. But I don't know if I can tell you the difference from the white to the yellow. So there'll be a lot of guesstimating, and maybe some, again with children, right, new surprises. He might have a bright child, or he might have a dull child. But anyway, but somebody's coming out. So, been in there pretty? Yeah. Now, when we test fertilizers, so we test it. Companies come in and always say we have the best fertilizer, the best flowers, make your plants grow and be beautiful, right? So they cannot be number one. We cannot be winners. So in the beginning, you look at this on the left-hand side, and Metzfer looks pretty darn good compared to Microlife. But we'll come back to this later on. So container growing. I'm a big plumeria person. I love plumerias. I got into them about 6 years ago, and I'm like on drugs now. So every smell and color is in there. That's my summer palette. I love them. They're on my whole backyard. And every day it's like going, it's my rose bush. But I have oranges and pinks and whites and yellows and every color rainbows and two-tones and purples and everything. And they're all firing off there. And then you walk through there, and then maybe 60% of them have a good smell to them, like a rose bush. And so you go through there, and again, I walk my little path. I had a little granite walkway, and it didn't go anywhere for a while, so the wife said it was a highway to nowhere. But I finally connected it to 1604 and 410, so we're connected now. So I have now a full walk path to go through and see all my flowers. But container gardening, it's the alternate of going to ground. Now, look at the right side this time. After a few weeks later, look at the left side. So this fertilizer company, evidently the heat is too hot for the fertilizer. So we're burning plants on the left side now. So here's the rep and hair thing, right? The first one looked really good at first. Now look at the micro. And about 3 weeks later, the micro lift looks a lot better. There's my feet again. See, look at my shoes. But see the left side, so you can see the burning of the leaves? Yes. There. So here we thought we had a beautiful product, but now look, they're coming up to the end. So the whole world, that's why we talk about going to school. I was in school that day, and we did a test. And we saw who passed and who failed. And we thought we had winners, and some, and I told the guy, he comes out there and he gives me a free hat. I'll advertise for almost anybody to give me a free hat. But I told the guy, I said, I don't know if I can wear your hat anymore, because, I said, I can't sell this to the public. And he goes, oh, we have a great price. It don't matter. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I said, my reputation, and Grandpa would kick my tail in. If I sold a product that wouldn't work, it wouldn't for you guys, it wouldn't right. So we'll go back to this picture a little bit too. So this is what we need to have, right? So when it goes into your gutter, where's it going? Out the bottom, down the river? Okay, so we're going to talk about where this water goes later on. Now let's don't forget nighttime again. So we're doing color, right? But it didn't have to all be about plants. Enjoy your outdoors, make yourself nice and cool, make your color scheme out there, whatever color you want to pick. So I sit out there at night, look at my landscape like this. I put these color lights out there, and I just need to there's a band going down there right now, downtown right now. I can borrow that band and take them over here in my house, and there'll be a nice little concert there. But I enjoy the moment. That's my moment. That's versus traveling. I don't need to travel. It's all at the house there. Now, looking abroad through your landscape, look at the color palette. So, in not just the flowers, but what do you see here? The pots. So, we found colorful pots a while back, and we're giving to our growers to put plants into them now. So again, it can be a non-blooming plant, but you're speckling color throughout the landscape, and it's not even a plant. So these tones, the earth tones, these bright colors, again, all this is there to, you come home, you had the most rotten day in the world, but you come home to your landscape, and the world just, falls off your shoulders. There's another plumeria. I'm gonna show it one more again. I mean, isn't that gorgeous though? So, when you go plumerias, you look for all these cool stuff. And sometimes these are seedlings, and so this is where that mixed bud comes in. Now, we need a shade plant, okay, that blooms. That's fire spike. Fire spike, the neatest one to find is this red, but it also comes in purple, pink, and white. And there's a variegated. And this goes back to my other stories, my other talks about, we depend on our growers that have these plants at all times, and then you find out that they don't have them anymore. And then everybody's searching to find a cutting to get these plants going again. So we're back to red and purple, but I need my other colors. Years ago, Robbie from Rose and Pouring had all the colors. She sold them there. And that's where I got some of mine from. And we sold them out because, again, I thought I had a supplier, and people go out of business and so forth. And so, anyway, so sometimes we rely on the public to, you have a plant that I can't find, we're looking to make cuttings on stuff and will and deal pricing or trade or whatever else. And so to get a plant back on the market, because we don't want any plant to leave the marketplace. It needs to be available. We all want one. Now this plant, I went to the cactus show in San Antonio Fiesta a year and a half ago, and I went outside of the booth, and this is called leopard ear. And she told me that this plant was very hardy, and you'll never be able to kill it, and blah 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 blah. And I looked at this going, okay, I'm no fool. This looks like trouble to me. This is gonna die or rot the first year I have it. And no, I've grown it in hot sun in whiskey barrels. I've put it in deep shade. I've not watered it. I've kept it around. I had bulbs in the planting bin for 2 weeks. Replant them again. It makes a little white flower. That's nothing special. It kind of drapes and makes little white flowers. But it is the hardiest plant that is near zero water, if it needs to be. It'll grow a little bit more with some water, but actually you don't want to overwater it. But it's an extremely tough plant. I've been a whiskey barrel full sun. I would water it maybe every 3 or 4 days last year during 100 degrees weather. I did not hit it every day, and it survived. It was always as beautiful, it could be, but it just was, but after 4 days I watered one more time. So if water restrictions get bad, this is a very tough plant, to have. I mean, it deserves some landscaping out there. It's all these bright, colorful. It should be my summer bloom series. Yeah, but it's tough. When you're looking at brown on the ground, green looks pretty good sometimes. So landscaping again, but this is my backyard with all the plumerias. That's why I'm nuts on that stuff. So that's going to be a big giant ball of flowers one day. And so you make your landscape the way you want it to be. Make it granite rock. Do walkways, whatever you want to do. But make that your night. And I got my night lights going and so forth. But this is my summer color series. Desert roses. Anybody grow desert roses by chance?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you'll love them, right? So they're called desert roses for a purpose. They don't need a lot of water. They can take some water. They're beautiful because if you haven't grown them before, they make these beautiful flowers, anywhere from 2 to 5 inches across, all different colors, two-tone, yellow, the whole thing there. Their energy is stored into the fatness of the girth of the codex of the bottom there. These plants are very cool because when they're root bound, they make a fat codex. When they're in a bigger pot, they grow tall and narrow. They'll bloom the other way, but the idea behind them is their value is when you have a big fat bottom, that's where their value comes into. But they're very tough plants, and they just, again, come in all kinds of different colors. I mean, it's just, it's desert rose. Yeah, it's not a xeriscape plant. It's not out there in the landscape. It's a potted plant, but we're talking about color for summer. And so these are potted plants, and I got these on my deck, around there too. They're just gorgeous.
Wait, what was that?
Which one?
The one you had.
That's another desert rose. just different colors. And they come like they all like roses, and I mean, there's just a whole family of those things. Okay, so remember that picture of the gutter again? So the nursery got involved into rain harvesting, and I wasn't real sure about it. I thought it would be whatever it's going to be. I guess I don't know, ignorance. But at the nursery, we have a 10 by 12 roof, and we have a 500-gallon tank on there. Actually, 530. And we had an inch of rain, and it put 360 gallons in there. So after I saw that, I got excited, and I decided, because I have East Central water, it's very high, 3 times higher than San Antonio. And they say you can't water, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to water anyway. But my plants are not going to die. So we decided to put one in too. And we have a 30 by 30 roof top on our garage. And so we put 1,100 gallons. That was 1.2 inches of rain fell. That's how much water I attracted in there. So it's amazing what a little rooftop, how much water is being flushed out to the bottom. Now, I understand there's some times that we have to have runoff and da-da-da, but right now, I'm taking all my water, holding it. My plant's gonna survive. And so, but the things have overflow. So when it's big rains, your tank fills up, the outlet goes out, the water goes back down the creek like it would normally. But you need to collect water this year. And I think this will be a future thing for all of us. So it can be small scale, big scale. And then I swear I look at my plants, my vegetable garden, and I'm watering with rainwater this whole season, putting the chlorine water on the other stuff. And I swear my plants look better. I'm not fighting chlorosis. I'm not fighting all kinds of other issues. They seem to be healthier. There's free nitrates still a little bit in there. And so, anyway, so just think about one day doing ray barrels, because I think that's kind of the way to go. One more small rain almost got me to green there. So it didn't take much. Another 1/4 inch rain and I bumped up again. So, a 2-inch rain, I'd had 1,100 gallons stored. So. All right, hanging plants. We can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, no, what is a 2-inch rain?
What 2-inch rain are we doing?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
I think, well, we have a better chance over here. Again, orchids, right? There's more orchids. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? I mean, it's all about, again, if you had a small greenhouse, their color palette could be right there inside your building in your own greenhouse. Have fun out there. So again, look at the containers. Look at all those different palettes of color. Now these are New Guinea impatiens. They always call them sun impatiens. I hate that name because there's no sun in New Guinea, because these things get sunlight, they burn up. So these things are just like regular impatiens, morning sun, afternoon shade. But look at the two-tone on the right there, that pink on there. But again, look what the pot did to it. The green pot would be okay, but you palette those colors into those schemes there, and wow, just all of a sudden it comes alive and see your fiesta again. There we go. More peach. This is a new Dipladenia. There's peach colors and tangerines now. The old days we had the plain red, pink, whatever. Everybody's got one, so if you have one, like, well, I never got one too. But now you have different colors. The palette colors are changing on this too. And sometimes you don't want a bold color. Sometimes you want a nice pastel color to blend into your landscape. And I mean, this is a beauty.
And that's
a Dipladenia. Dipladenia. Like a mandevilla, but it's a different family. The mandevilla is Alice DuPont, that's a big old flower. She had lots of problems. These guys are much tougher. They bloom more often too. So now I get all excited. See, look at that. You fill your cart full of stuff and you realize, look, that blue pot would be nice in the back there for landscaping. The whiskey barrels would look nice. I threw my drift rose on top of there. It's all about color. It's all about color, and it's the shoes, and it's the top too. So all that goes together. So you just have an exciting time out there. And then you build up your landscape. You build your depth. You got your shade trees in the back, your next layer, your next layer, your next layer. So you build backwards into your landscape. There's that pretty old bird of paradise again. Now, see that blue plumbago? That's old-fashioned. And you probably guys know there's lots of new colors. There's much darker blues nowadays. That's purple skull's cap. So purple skull's cap was not always available. It's not quite as hardy as a pink one, but it's purple. And for me, purple sells. Anything purple is gorgeous. So we have purple, we can sell it.
How big are the flowers?
They're small. Yeah, they're tiny. Yeah.
Do they grow in the wild?
They grow like a mound. Not this one wouldn't, well, I mean, I guess it did somewhere, yeah, not here though. But they can grow out, yes.
I got them in my backyard.
Oh, do you? Yeah. So there, there's all kinds of, there's cool plants. I mean, they're just, they're in their backyard sometimes. Well, you have wild verbena, it grows in your backyard too. And, well, purslane. So there's a little closer picture of it right there. But isn't it a pretty color?
Yeah.
There's a dark blue plumbago. So we've gone over the years when I was a little boy to that light blue, to now the blues are more enriched. And there's even a deeper one yet, but it's not easily found. Monrovia went to patent on it. And we also found it wasn't quite as cold hardy too, but there are darker ones in this one. But blue, I mean, it just highlights and goes. We're gonna try bringing some butterflies, right? Yeah. So break blue mist flower. Yeah, that is a tough plant, and it's big, it's fat, and it blooms a lot. And the butterflies start heading towards it, much like I did at Chick-fil-A. And so they want to eat, right? We all want to eat. The plants want to eat. You've got food. It's food. There's a Chick-fil-A, Whataburger, Jack in the Box. My Roof Steakhouse thing I always say. Your quality of your food comes from what you eat and what you buy from. And so, yeah. So these plants, these plants will bloom for you. They'll give you lots of color. They'll do everything for you if you water them and feed them a little bit. Not all plants need as much care, which is what we're trying to go for. But in some fashion or form, a plant wants to eat somewhere. Coneflowers.
You have one of them.
Okay. So they're not just one color anymore. There's yellows, oranges, and there's all kinds of colors. Even a little bit more too. And so, so again, part of the landscape. It's not just coneflowers, echinacea. You have your own. So here you have your own medicine sheds too. So I come sometimes too, like people come in and say, "Where's your herbs at?" I just want Snickers. The whole nursery is actually, but the common ones are over here because every plant is an herb of some sort. It's medical, it's medicinal, it's whatever. But there's a leaf, root, trunk, bark of every plant that does something. Somebody had to test it the first time to see if it's poison. but we look at these things, and we have a medicine cabinet in our backyard. It's just you're brave enough to mess with it. So butterflies also love lantana, and same thing. Lantana is there's ground cover, there's the tall ones, the wild ones. If you plant the purple trailing, and maybe you know this or not, purple trailing will make a nice ground cover. I've seen it bloom up to Christmas Day. Sometimes if it's mild winter, even beyond that. The other lantana is going to crash out and just kind of go sleep or freeze. And I've seen those take a light frost and keep right on rolling. So if you want a long blooming lantana, think about purple trailing. Otherwise, you have new gold and oh my God, the names are just caprice. The names are everywhere now. There's all kind of real salsa, obviously. So the color palette is crazy. But I mean, look at the bright colors again. So you can do the pastel color. You can be bold again in the backyard. I don't think the butterflies can see palette colors, so they don't care. But for us, it looks cool. So if it's just they want to see that flower. Look at that color. So again, you can and that's an all summer blooming plant. Very few seed pods. They can make seed pods. Some still do. The wild ones do. But you might want to trim every so often. But I find in general, as long as you're feeding them properly and you're watering them properly, they just recycle flowers and just keep on rolling. There's white. Not a big fan of white, but you need sometimes white to stand out the other colors. So yellow and whites are kind of like your neutrals. And so if I had this and that color next to it, that makes that pop there. Kind of white does the same thing too. But so sometimes you want those colors to bring out. It can't all be dark colors. You bring out something in there to make it highlight. There's that purple trillium right there. So just a beautiful ground cover, non-seeding. Flowers and flowers and flowers and flowers and flowers. And you've got a food source for your butterflies. Because the butterflies, even though inchworms are not really deadly, but they're there. But, and again, remember, when we do butterflies, there is a worm involved. Okay? Kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly kind of thing. To get to the butterfly, we have to grow a worm. So if you want your monarchs, and you want some stuff, you have to plant enough plant to allow them to eat some of your plant. If you dust everything down, then there's a whole butterfly population gone. So we think about that. We all want to be, oh, we went this and this, oh, worms, you know. But we have to know. We got to think about. We have to let some worms do their thing. If they get too aggressive, yeah, we tame them down a little bit. But we need them. Now that's the red Dipladenia. And it's still pretty. It's kind of common, but it's red, right? You want that here I am vibrant color, Dipladenia. Very tropical, so you have to bring it in. But if you don't let it freeze, you'll have it for 10 years. Red fountain grass. It's not super cold hardy. We've had these last few winters that we've played with it, but you know, it's one of the few plants. I give you these burgundy reddish leaves, and it's a nice big tall plant, good background plant. In a native landscape, it looks sort of natively wild, so it fits right on in. Even the little flower tassels are kind of burgundy. So I always grew up this thing being called Queen's Crown Vine. Now they call it coral vine. So all the names are changed in the world. I don't know why, but they're changing them. This is the most common color. You can get it in white, but it's rare. But this plant will bloom as it is, last few weeks, all the way into first freeze. So if you have a fence line, that little bitty plant will grow 25 feet in the directions off a bulbish deal. And it runs like crazy. It's going to freeze on the first freeze impact, and it'll dry. But guess what? You can take on the ends and just roll it like a barbed wire fence, like this, and come back to the center, cut it, throw it away, compost it, whatever. It disintegrates really quickly, and then next year it goes up and do it all over again. At the nursery, we have a spot where this vine and a butterfly vine come around and meet each other. And it's a battle, but it's cool because the yellow's on top of the pink, pink on top of the yellow, and then they get mad and go up a dead tree. And they so drift roses. We all know about knockout roses. I guess you all know about drift roses, but the knockout roses, you know, were the big tall guys, and they're good too. They bloom multiple colors. There's also oranges and corals in it now too. So it's not just plain pink and red and white. And the yellow and rainbow, to me, are sorry, I wouldn't buy them because they don't. Yellow's not yellow and rainbow's not rainbow. There's a pale, whatever. But these drift series now, they're shorter. They only get to 3 feet tall max, and they're mounding. But they have a great palette color, and they hold their colors. They're still not a great deep yellow, unfortunately. But there's one called popcorn that blooms white with yellow buildup in it, which is the buttercup orange. But you've got coral and peach and apricot and red and pink and what's the other one there? A sweet drift. There's just a whole bunch of them. You know, there's about probably 12, 14 colors of this thing. So these are 90% mildew resistant, very bug resistant. They need to be pruned after every third bloom. So the first 2 or 3 you can relax and do something else. And then when you get that third bloom, clean it up a little bit, make sure you fed them. And they rebloom and go over, do it over again. And the heat doesn't really bother them too much. Every rose flower will shrink by up to 45% or more. So a 6-inch flower comes down to 3.5 inches or whatever, and 3 inches goes down to the little thing. But drifts seem to hold their size within 8% tolerance of the heat. So they're not going to lose a lot of size. And they're not big to begin with, but they don't shrink up like other plants. And they seem to be thrift resistant also. And rarely do I ever see aphids on there. So aphids don't seem to be a big problem. Can't say somebody wouldn't have aphids, but it's just not a, you know, I look at my shelf, what I'm selling. If you're not coming in asking for, you know, bug spray for drift roses, then we're assuming that we have a problem. And that's been years in that zone. So there's pink drift. Now, magnolias. Okay. So if you're going to grow a magnolia, two things I'm going to ask you is, are you growing it for, did you miss it in Georgia for the shade tree or for the flowers? And most time they say the flowers. Well, then we go to Little Jim. So Little Jim magnolia is an ever-blooming magnolia tree. The other ones, I'll show you in a minute, are beautiful foliage. I love the foliage of some of the new ones. But you don't bloom well. It's a bloom speckling here and there. This one blooms a continuous like a rose bush. It's pop, pop, pop. Nice 8-inch to 9-inch size flowers, so they're still big flowers. I didn't have a really pretty one to show you when I was blooming the other day. But they're gorgeous. But then you have D.B. Blanchard or brackens. So the old-fashioned southern magnolias had a problem with fungus. It seemed like these darker toned ones, so if you look underneath the leaf, you see the brown velvet tone. That's the harder ones. The old southern ones have just, we kind of like, nobody even sells them anymore because they just have so much problems between iron and this, that. These dark palatable leaves, and then where I'm getting with this with the color is, the color now comes from the brown. So as the wind moves and the leaves are doing it, you're seeing brown being done at you, like a cinnamon brown. So it's another color. It's not a flower. It's a color landscape to come back at you. But it's a gorgeous plant. See that pretty tone? Very earthy.
Pretty cool.
All right, ground cover. My first big exploit on this landscape is like this, but at SeaWorld. SeaWorld had it in a wave. You know, they have a wave over there, right? So a big old wave with two colors racing each other. And out there in full sun, now I'm sure they had a sprinkler system going on it, but it grew out in full sun on top of white rock. And so it's a very tough plant. It's not a good perennial, but it's worthy because you can buy it really cheap in the beginning of the season. And one plant can cover a huge area. It's like all sweet potatoes, none fruity. This one will root, pop along. So that's why it can continue, because as it's growing, you can pinch off pieces yourself, and within 7 days you'll have roots on your plant, ready to be potted. So they're very fast rooting. But there's a whole different color spec of those things too.
What color, what plant was that?
Sweet potato vine.
Oh, sweet potato.
So these are ornamental peppers, right? It's not a flower, but it's still colorful, right? And the right kind of pot, terracotta, whatever. You got the purple leaf ones with the purple fruits. You've got the yellow ones, orange ones. Technically, they're edible. They're waxy. I don't know if you want to eat them or not, but hard times come by, you can eat them. But they're cool. There's something different. It's a nice yellow. The purple right there, right? It's just color. It's just you do your landscape to make it look cool to you. Zinnias. Okay, so marigolds used to be the king of summer flowers. Zinnias kind of took that away now. So, and the cool thing about zinnias, you don't have red spider mites generally. So now the marigolds have the old thing of taking plants, bugs away from your other garden. Maybe that's true. They get bugs anyway, so get red spider mites and stuff on there. I don't know if they attract them away from the other plants or they're just magnets for them anyway. But either way, I guess but that's the problem. They get red spider mite, and here we go. Buy, you spray. I sort of thank you for buying it because I'll be spraying. You'll be buying spray all summer. But zinnias are low cost in a lot of ways, including the chemicals. And again, big color palettes of that too. There's different colors. There's the reds, pinks. I mean all kinds of white. There's all kinds of colors in there. They can be bought in 4-pack, 6-packs if you get them early enough. If you wait till late in the summertime, you go into 4-inch, then you're in quarts because your timing is going. So you go in. That's so like tomato plants and peppers too. Everything you buy something when there's a starting point and a finish line. And your starting point is when the cheapest plants are available in whatever size pack. And if you get farther along, the growers move to the next size, because your timing is timing. You got to get closer to the. Otherwise, little bitty guy, you're never going to finish the race. By the time you get to a first bloom, it's already right back to pansies already. So again, more colors. Caladiums. Not a flower, but look at it. And there's pinks and reds and same thing, the different veins, the vein structure. It's the baby elephant. So if you had a elfin landscape, you could bottom dress the ankles with caladiums and make that a two-tone step up. And that way the texture would look pretty there. Again, pretty colors, red. It's not for me. So one time I went to 7 nurseries and I bought 26 varieties of coleus. And I had them in containers down my walkway. That's where I left them there. And I had, on both sides, I had every multicolor, single color of coleus, the sun coleus I could find. And it took the sun just perfectly fine in those containers. But I had chartreuse, red, oranges, pinks, two-tones, everything. And it wasn't a flower, but it was a gorgeous walk. It was just this multicolored walk of leaves. And leaves are not in bloom, so they're there every day. They'll be there tonight, they'll be there tomorrow morning, they'll be next night. So it was always in color, 24/7. So with no opening or closing, it's always there. So I could invite you to the house anytime, there would be color there. And then we try to blend colors together, like you can buy them separately, but if you notice, like see at these tones here, if I were to put a yellow plant like this, I'm sorry, the other side I can't show too much, but like that, these colors bring out other colors. And so when you're doing a landscape, you know, again, you know, not a moving plant, a living plant, but all of a sudden these yellows on that plant come out. And so you gotta look at that kind of your landscape too. Everybody's there to help everybody. See the pink colors too now? It's not marijuana. Okay, then impatiens. Same thing, big broad colors. They have had some disease problems. A lot of that's controllable by your watering. And for y'all that have been going to my classes, you know I always put what finger roots, right? You know, we're talking about the microbial life, the antibacterial life, the probiotics or fungus. So if the ground is charged properly, you don't seem to have disease problems, rotting problems, that kind of thing, because the ground is inoculated like your belly if you took a line, something. So all that keeps the diseases from happening. So if your ground's alive, your plants are alive. Great hanging baskets, and we can hanging baskets. Again, you can buy the purple basket, put that in there. Petunias. Now, the kicker on petunias to me is they're gorgeous in spring and they're fluffy in the summer.
Yeah.
So, and the cool thing is, we had some really cool varieties years ago. Lower bush petunia, junior. Where are they at? You know, why do the growers, why do these things go? They don't raise them anymore. I think lower bush was okay. I don't think we get too mad at her, so you can't give me anything. But, you know, we lose these plants. And why are they on the market? Why are these, you know, once in a blue moon, we'll get a seed pop up where they used to be years ago and won't pop. But I mean, why are they not on the market? Why is Moy Grande hibiscus, which we've given mallow, given to multiple growers, including green leaf, and they let them die out, and they're not growing? And so we lost. Well, we didn't lose our plant. We thought we had backup, so we sold our plant. So now I have people that are giving me the division cuttings off their mother plant, so we can raise them and try and make cuttings on those plants one day, a very slow process. But when you're at your wit's ends to find plants, you have to build hard measures. So we were trying to get away from the old school of being a grower, and that's, so the difference between a garden center and a nursery is we say advanced garden center now because Google likes it that way and get more people. But we are a nursery. We are an active tractor running, growing, potting, mixing soil, farm labored garden center. That makes us a nursery. And so we're willing to do the step of growing plants for you if we can't find things. So we have some greenhouses that are just, that's what they're dedicated for. So you can't go back to one area there, they're secret service. So there's a marigold. Again, great summer flower, but just watch for the bugs. Red spider mites are the big deal. But I mean, you know, they do what they do, right? There's big yellow ones, orange ones, two tones. They're pretty plants. Now, this one I have under my gazebo called fanflower. It gets pretty good amount of sunlight, but not blazing all day long. It's a little rough for it. But they come in single color, but I do the two-tone where I put white and purple together. And again, that blends. And it gives you, it looks to me almost like a dark leaf blooming fern. So it's a cool plant in that the foliage is pretty by itself. Then you've got these little, which almost look like doves or butterflies flying around the plant there, hanging on there. So it's just kind of a cool plant. Periwinkles. So same thing, periwinkles, everyone buys periwinkles in March, and we tell them no. Because cool weather kills them. They rot off, they die fast. Never buy them in March. Rarely do you buy them in the first part of even April. Sort of May 1st is really the better time to get going. The hot weather is better for marigolds. They love hot weather, the full sun, feed them, charge them. You probably need to use this again on there because they do have a damp off disease. They're making varieties that fight it better, but not bulletproof. But again, the ground is inoculated. That doesn't really happen. Anyway, those are core series and some other ones that are the ones that they want you to plant because they're more disease resistant. But these companies like Ball Seed and they'll come up with all these names and tell you it's great, and then it's not so great. So anyway, but you plant them and feed them properly. Good loose soil. I talk about Fox Farm. I love Fox Farm potting soil. Happy Frog. Everybody carries it. You can't say you can't find it, but it is a cost issue. But man, does it grow plants. And so you want to set the world on fire, you put some Happy Frog on there. Don't look for Angry Toad. It's Happy Frog. But look at the color palette again. So look at all that. You know, you get those nice peach colors and so forth. Purplish. Hot red bougainvillea. Gold. Doubles. Difference on doubles and singles. Single flowers will fall and you leave little dry brackets, but generally the plant redoes its own thing. If you buy the doubles bloom and they dry and they hold on and it will not resprout hardly. So if you buy doubles, you have to be willing to cut off the end of the flower pod stem so it'll regenerate new growth there. But they're pretty. They can be very fiery tipped. They're very exciting when they bloom, but it's a maintenance in there, and they're also very thorny. And so if you take fish oil and whatever, you might look like a crime scene coming out of there. But they're pretty. Oxalis, all kinds of oxalises. Again, we're going back to some flowers. They have a lot light pink flower in there, but we're going back to foliage again. It's foliage, dark purple. When you get everything's green out there, it seems like. So when you get those colorful leaves, that's what kind of makes the landscape kind of dance and on there. It just jumps and get those dark colors in there. You've got different violets, ground violets, and pentas. So if a butterfly is flying and doesn't see lantana or is tired of eating lantana all day long, sucking the nectar, they love pentas. And they're different colors too. But I mean, they just love it. I mean, butterflies, they fly, they almost knock you down to get to it, like at a all-you-can-eat restaurant. So they just go there to eat, and they just love that stuff. So if you want your wildlife, you listen to what they want to eat. And so pick your plants who you want to invite into your garden. You don't want nobody to come in and plant certain thing. But if you want your lively garden to become lively, then we put these plants out there that'll attract all these cool butterflies and monarchs and then like I say, let the worms have their feast too a little bit. So that coral vine again, why we want coral vines? The one on the front gate of the nursery, that big vine, at any one time of the day, I swear there's 100 million bees on there. And our bees are nice, they're friendly, they won't bite them. we haven't talked to them, they're so often. But you have to have bees, and people are saying, I don't have any bees in my garden, your fruit tree's going to do this, and blah, blah, blah. Well, put a coral vine out there. You'll have bees. Once they're there, they might go to aisle B and go to the next thing. Oh, this looks pretty good too. First thing you know, they're into your broccoli and other plants out there and other flowers, and to your tomato plants and so forth, and they're doing their job. They're spreading pollen around, like this. But you've got to send out the invitation. Like who come? So you got a party next month, right? That I wasn't invited to, but
You are.
And so, but you put out the invitation, and they're going to come. Right? Especially if the table is full of food. And so there it is. The invitation's out there. So, can you say more? Except,
You're kind of customer.
except I'm the wife, I guess, because I'm the one buying too much stuff. So again, there's that Tuskegee crepe myrtle. That's its full name, and that's the one that I think if you ever did find one, I don't think it will, other than from us. But we give it some time for it to grow it. But that is in the future. That is going to be a kick flower. It's going to be good. There's another version of that Dipladenia. I'm showing a lot of those because they've really upped their game in color palettes. And so again, it's not that old Dallas DuPont, it's not the purple, the red, pink. It's these new colors, these tangerines, the peach and the yellows, and oh my God, it's just getting crazy. There's even a light purple came out, and we had it for a very short time, and it was gone, and I can't find it again. So we're up to about 7, 8 colors on Dipladenias, which is pretty cool. And then there's Norfolk again. So
You wouldn't never have David Doty.
so just real quickly, a couple things. I think my time is about to go. I wanted to do a couple things. One, silver is white or yellow. So when you're doing landscape, we put silver. Silver dichondra, we do the silkworm plant, or the artemisia. Because again, silver goes with every color. So great plant to have out there. Then you have your snowy landscape. And I don't mean like the city dump. So you have Copper Canyon daisy, yellow flowers, and as soon as you just this is you're gonna start a little bit. So this has a really cool smell to it. And then you have Mexican Miss Marigold, which smells like licorice. So you can have your palette and smell all your plants out there. And then Waterburger, then you're the go-to plants out there by the street, and the big dum-dums, probably the ones who bought them out, took the landscaping away. This is Mexican oregano. Mexican oregano makes beautiful light pink flowers, 3 by 3 feet, 3 by 5 foot wide. But it's oregano, so it's an edible landscape. So you smell it all day long, cook with it, use it, whatever. It's got a cool thing to it. And then you have this salvia. It's called the forsythia salvia. And I'll leave it up here for later on. But this makes a square stem, not a round stem trunk, and has golden yellow flowers. It's a tall plant. I think it needs a little bit apart after you shave, make it work best. But the height in yellow in a salvia is kind of cool on there. And so I think, of course, covered other than water, water, water. If you can't put a sprinkler out, but the city cops are here to turn you in, always use drip. Drip to turn on at 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody knows. They know the people are sleeping. And let that just water all your landscape out there on the ground. If you've got to get your water to hold longer, there's a product called Hydrotane. Hydrotane will make the ground absorb moisture. And so you spray it on there, it soaks in, and all day long it's actually pulling humidity out of the air and drawing it into the ground 24/7. And help penetrate the ground. Medina also penetrates the ground, so that when the rain, next rain does come, it doesn't slide off so fast. You've seen before, when you try to get a good rain, and it makes that bubbly, sits on top of the ground, and it's all down silo. And so use that to make the percolate, make that ground absorb it, make it like a magnet. And then, in the landscape, coco coir is an absorbing compost. So if we're dealing with peat moss and other things, we use coco coir, and coco coir also absorbs moisture. So we make hanging baskets, especially those beautiful coco coir baskets, coco liner. You put this in there, and it won't drain through as fast. And if you are using those baskets, make sure you put a secondary plant underneath it to water 2 plants at one time. All right, guys, I think I covered my deal for an hour. So, any questions or?
What's that behind you?
The flag?
No, the plant.
I think she wants to buy it from you.
This is the coreopsis, but instead of the old coreopsis, it's the brighter yellow. So again, there's a family leaf going up too. There's a whole, everything out there is changing. It's not just because in coreopsis, I gotta say, what color do you want? But it's all changing. There's nothing simple. There's not that, where the Baskin Robbins of color of any kind of world. But in a pretty bright yellow.
Mark, what kind of salvia is that?
Let's call it forsythia.
Forsythia?
Yeah.
And I want to plug your red rose. I was over at your nursery garden center years ago, get the white popcorn outside.
Yeah.
It is fragrant.
So that's a plus again, right? Yeah. So if you mentioned about the drip rose being fragrant, and I would go back to my old story of Grandpa when this person was saying, hey, how come some of your roses don't smell? And Grandpa would say, well, when you met your wife, did you smell it first? So you tend to go for beauty first, then you go first. But yeah, that's what I've always done. White rose. That's fun called popcorn. Got that beautiful yellow in it. All right, if you're free Saturday, we're hosting the Basil Fest, which used to be at the Pearl There, I think it's action going down at Pearl where all these events are being now moved off somewhere, and I think the residents are having complaints. So they're moving these events to us, Rainbow Garden. We're going back and forth on the nurseries, hosting different things, but if you're interested.
Any further questions for Mark? Well, then let's.
Would you